Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Small Town Music. It has been a couple of weeks since I have posted, recorded, done some stuff. It has been kind of a whirlwind here in my world. Just we finished basketball season, so with that came a lot of games through the middle of the week. We were also getting ready for a concert both for my band program and my community band that I run. So that was a lot of work, especially on weeknights. There was just something every single night that on the weekends I was ready to not think about my job for a little bit. So I'm back this week with kind of I call it, I'm going to call it a kitchen sink episode. So it's kind of got just a lot of variety of topics. So I kind of posted on social media about this a little bit, but it's what I didn't learn in college, which could fill multiple books of just all the things. And that's not a drag on the music education program that I went through. It's just like there's so many things that college cannot teach you until you were in the real world. And there's just so many things outside of pedagogy that you do not learn sitting in a college classroom that I think that only experience can teach you. So to get started, something that I have just recently started doing, and Laura has also been doing too, is creating a music department brand or logo and kind of, branding, marketing your group. So with anything ever, think about sports teams, whether they're professional or collegiate or high school, like they have the warm-up gear, they have the t-shirts, they have the logo, they have, it says X basketball or like Indiana Fever or Pacers, whatever. And they have that distinguish distinguishable brand that everyone knows and could identify, and there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with it. So I think it makes any of your t-shirts or um, merchandise that you would be creating. I think it looks good. I know Laura did magnets for her students for their lockers to say like, yeah, Bluefield Choir, and like the magnets, yes, they can get taken off easily, and so that's a downfall. But they aren't going to destroy the lockers. I know that's a problem with a lot of our locker signage, that it gets a little muddled and messed up, and if you use the wrong kind of tape and stuff, then our poor custodians who work incredibly hard, um, they they have to work even harder to like scrape that tape off. But the magnets are a nice idea because then everybody in the school will see that and like, oh, that's a cool. Even if it doesn't necessarily make them want to join choir, they see that logo, that brand, and they say, yeah, like that's a cool thing. I like that. I have started any papers that I have that go home to my students that are permission slips or schedules or anything. It has a banner at the top, and it's like a dark, it's like a light gray, but because our printers, we print in black and white, so it's like a gray like rectangle at the top, and then it has our like band logo that I created on there. On the top left corner has our little logo. It's like on our t-shirt, it's on a Christmas ornament, it's on all the signs, it's on our social media pages, it's like the profile picture. So it's very recognizable. And then I'll put like permission slip or basketball schedule or whatever, like summer marching band information. I'll put that at the top. So then parents, as they're like flipping through papers that, they get the stack of papers home from their kids, and they can easily identify like, oh yeah, that's for band. I need that for band or whatever. And it just helps it stand out a little bit. Use the same fonts across the board. Having that logo, it really helps you use the same fonts. So I've talked about Canva a little bit, and I absolutely like, the more I use Canva, the more I just love using Canva just across the board. It's so easy. Laura and I have been getting ready for our elementary spring concert, so we've been using Canva to make videos. We like downloaded the tracks, and you can put that into Canva so easily, and then do like slideshow video, so it's timed with all the lyrics, and so I don't have to like punch through and do the lyrics. It just automatically is going to show up, and I can teach kids the songs, and it's super great. Um, anyway, Canva has a brand, like your brand kit or whatever. And so you have like the colors, the logo, the fonts, any other thing that's associated with your brand, it goes into that. So every time you're doing something for your brand, like creating documents or flyers or products, then it's right there. It's right on the sidebar of like menu options of like, oh, yep, that's my brand. Like, perfect. I can go and use that. Um, yeah, in my notes, use it on flyers, create a heading for all my handouts, put it on literally everything. We have a makerspace at our school, and I really like to use it, so I have played around in there a lot. And we have a laser engraver cutter machine, and it does specifically like wood and acrylic, and it can do paper too, which is pretty cool. We've engraved on pencils, which is really fun. Um, but I was able to make like a bunch of Christmas ornaments, and those don't go bad. So we have a handful of them left. So I just keep trying to sell them. You can make earrings. You can make literally anything, because you have a logo, and that's our T-shirt every year now, and that's like what we use for everything. It's super handy. I highly recommend it. Okay, so that's just a little bit about having a brand and a logo. Permission slips. So this was one of the comments that I got from one of the videos I posted either on TikTok or Instagram. Was someone had asked about permission slips, and so I do permission slips anytime I'm taking kids someplace outside of the town. Um, so anytime we do a field trip, I don't. I kind of did permission slips for. We're doing a couple recruitment nights with our elementary students, and so I kind of did permission slips for that, just as a like. I want the parent, like, kids always say like, oh yeah, I'll come to that. I'm like, did you talk to your parents? So kind of like when you need the parents to know that something is happening, then have them sign a permission slip, and it helps you get an idea of like who the parents are to contact if their kid is, doing something or saying things or not saying things, if some communication needs to happen. But on the permission slip, put the date of your trip, how much money it costs, what they need to wear. Put a very clear schedule of like, arrive at the school at 4 o'clock, board the bus immediately, leaving by 4:15, have $20 to $30 with you for dinner, arrive at, dinner place at 5, leave dinner place at 5:45, and so on and so forth. And just like a very clear, like, this is the time we're going to be here, this is when we're going to be here, this is when we're supposed to be leaving the place, this is when we're supposed to be at home, like arriving at home, so that parents know, because they just want to know where their kids are, and it's not necessarily about control, or they're not going to come hunt you down. They just want to know, especially like all the parents have the tracking apps and are going to say like, oh, like, that's weird, they're still at the restaurant, like, why is that happening? Oh, my kid left their phone there. So that's a thing. Make sure you have that detachable bottom part, so like the bottom part is what the kids turn back into you, and then the top part is that schedule and all the information that hopefully parents can keep and like put on their refrigerator or put in a calendar, or whatever. They have that paper to be able to say like, yes, this is the thing that is happening on this day. And it's like, and again, with the logo and the banners on my field trip forms, we have like opera trip March 13th. um and so then that's a very clear, like, it says our logo, and then it says like what that is, so they know. Don't make it due too far away from when you hand it out. So if you hand it out in like April, or you hand it out in February and it's not due till May, like, nobody's gonna hand that in time, and you're gonna have to reprint them all. We do a trip to kind of a local theme park every year at the end of the year, and we give the kids plenty of time because we cannot do refunds. So like money has to be in at a certain time. So we try to give a good amount of time. But even now, I'm like, it's too early. They're just going to lose it. There's going to be like a couple of kids that turn it in immediately, and then there's going to be a bunch of kids that it's like the day after it's due, and they're going to be like, wait, what? Like, I didn't know about that. So try to give them like a couple of weeks to turn it in and to kind of get it done. But other than that, like, permission slips aren't too bad. Doing the first couple is nerve wracking because grammatical errors, and there's always a parent that returns mine corrected, and it's very frustrating. But in general, yeah, anytime you're taking kids places and you need the parents to know about it, do a permission slip. I guess you could possibly do too many, like if you're doing it for like every single basketball game or every single after school event, that can get a lot. But like if I'm taking kids on a bus somewhere, that usually warrants a permission slip of some kind, or at least a communication of what the event is going to be. So like for our basketball games, we travel during tournament time. I don't usually do permission slips for that, but I print out schedules and like send it out to people. All right, communicating with parents, which I did have a communication episode a couple of weeks ago, but just to kind of do another little tidbit on it, just anything that I missed. Make sure it's clear, concise, and simple. As a current parent, like there's so many things that are on my mind all the time about my kids that I don't want to read like pages and pages of information. I want to be able to clearly see like the bullet points. Why is this important? Why are you communicating with me? And then tell me what I need to know. So like I use the example of my letter that I would send home to fifth graders, and it had like a bunch of really, really, really good information about why kids should join band. But as a parent, I don't want to sit through and read 3 pages of information. I'm sure my parents of my students do not either, and I'm probably going to lose a couple people because it's a packet of information versus like 1 page. Give me what do I need to know? Give me all the things that I need to know, and then let's move on from there. If you can use, oh, I do like 1 to 2 emails a week. I really like using a newsletter, and I mentioned it, and I also posted an example of what my newsletter looks like. And it helps. It just gives all the information. There's just so many things happening so far in advance. Like our entire year is full. Like every month, at least there's like 1 or 2 things, if not more, happening, depending on the month. So that just helps cut down on the number of like, and reminder this and reminder this. So like I send a newsletter out every single week. It doesn't really change too much week to week. I add or delete things as needed, and hopefully parents read it. I think most of them do, but I kind of give week to week like, okay, this week these are the important things. Like in the letter or in the email, I'll attach the newsletter and say, "Hey, please read the newsletter. Here's what is happening specifically this week and or next week that we really need to be aware of." Um, and then that's kind of what I do. If there's other things that pop up that I want parents to be aware of immediately, like, hey, we have a time change for an event, or we have this thing got added kind of last minute, then yeah, we'll do that. Or like concert things, like I need all of my students to be at the concert, so that email gets sent out well in advance. If you can use kind of like a group texting thing, Remind is the best because it can do SMS texting, and they don't have to have a separate app. They can have a separate app. However, I know like a lot of my students are like, I can't put more apps on my phone because I have too many apps. So then like students can add their cell phone number to the group text and just sends out a regular text message, which is really nice. It's very helpful for field trips, especially if you're like, we ran into traffic and we're going to be a little bit later than we thought, or you're like, hey, we are leaving the school at this time. Please come pick up your kids on time. You do not have to give out your cell phone, your personal, your Facebook if you don't want to. You can create that boundary. The older I've gotten and the more ingrained I've gotten in the town, like I am friends with some of my students' parents now, because that's just like the way it is. And like they're my coworkers too. So like yeah, I have their cell phone numbers. So I'm gonna text them if I need to, or they're gonna text me, and that's okay. Like I have allowed that. But they also, a lot of the kids who have parents that are teachers, they don't bother me because they're also teachers, so they know they know not to bother me at 10:30 p.m. the night before a concert or something. But I just you should really create a boundary for yourself, with parents, and especially checking and responding to emails. I know I get really anxious, so I've done a really good job of not checking my email week, like hour by hour, whenever I am home. And I am able to, oh, that was loud. I'm sorry. I'm able to just not open my email, and I have it set so I don't get like the notifications or the updates or anything, because that would just drive me batty. Like if it was constantly notifying me, especially like there's some, there's a lot of stuff that I get that I don't need to respond to, or that's just kind of junk or whatever. Um, so being able to like put it away and put it out of my mind is really helpful. I make sure the app, like the Gmail app, I have it. So I have an iPhone, and the mail app on my iPhone, I do not have my school email account on it because I I don't want it. I want to be able to ignore it when I want it, like on, breaks and stuff if I just want to check my email. So then I have this separate Gmail app, and on that, I like put it in a folder on the second page of the folder, if that makes sense. So, like, it's not staring at me in the face, like begging for me to check it. It's just, it's there. I know where it is when I need it, but I don't feel the need to compulsively check it. And that's like a very active process that I have, or habit that I have put in for myself. Um, but check out our communication episode, because I break down some more things in there. So communicating when parents get kind of nasty or not okay, take a beat. You do not have to respond immediately. There is no law. And if there is, if your principal is like, every parent email, you must respond within 5 minutes, that's kind of a toxic work environment, and I don't recommend working there. Easier said than done, I get that. But like that, absolutely, no, you are a teacher. You are not like, it's not a life or death situation. You can take a minute and like take a deep breath and like drink a glass of tea and like calm down before you respond. And I highly recommend like sit on it, like type. I know some of my colleagues, they'll like type something out and then they'll schedule send for the next school day to kind of like get it off of their mind so it's like done, but they're not gonna, it's gonna look like they waited to respond, which I think is healthy for everybody. That like, nope, my work hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. or whatever. Like I usually get to school at 7:30, so I'll start responding to emails 7:30 in the morning. Sometimes earlier, sometimes later, just depends on the day. Um, but yeah, just setting that like, no, this is the time that I'm at work and I do not need to respond to your emails. This is not life or death. Involve your principal, especially if you're kind of new to teaching. Try to ask some colleagues, like get some guidance on like, hey, do you know this parent? Do you know how to respond to this? Do you know if I should respond or should I just let it go or whatever? Um, but yeah, take a breath. One really important question that someone had posted was, how do you deal with a fight, and how do you come down after like the emotional heightened emotions of like you just witnessed two kids beating each other up. So how do you like, okay, now I'm gonna go teach second grade and like move on with my day or whatever. So first thing you should probably ask principals is school policy, what the school policy is and what your admin want you to do. So we are told, and I think a lot of people are told, that like do not touch the kids. Like go call our student resource officer or our principals and admin immediately. Like you stay away from them. You do not get involved, because then that will put you in the line of fire, and then kids could come back at you and say like, well, they intervened and hurt me really bad, or it could potentially make it worse. And as terrible as that sounds, to just like stand by and watch, like that's kind of what it is. But your school may be different, but well, I've always been told, do not touch the kids if they're fighting, for a lot of reasons. Yell for help. Try to say like, hey, stop, let's break it up. But again, don't like physically pull them apart. Try to get the other kids to leave, because a crowd is going to form. So try your best to get other kids to leave, and especially try to get them to put their phones away. At our current school, it is like a punishable offense if kids are recording the fight. So get them to put their phones away, walk away, all the things. Um, have other kids go get a teacher. Just give them something to do. Like you go to the nurse, you go, like you five go down to the office, try to get them away. Write as much of a report as you possibly can, like from the moment it happened, from the moment it started. Write as much down and try to be as clear and concise as possible about all the information that you know. After the fight is over, tell your admins like, hey, I just need like 5 minutes to take a deep breath. Like, can you cover my class while I just like go sit outside or like go get a cup of coffee or something from the lounge? Hopefully, theoretically, like assuming they're not overwhelmed with the aftermath of the fight, but they can hopefully find someone to just watch your class while you like take a deep breath. I think journaling about it can be very helpful. Like if you experience something really intense and just like getting it out. Like I know I need to like vent about it to my teacher friends who understand. But if you don't have that person immediately, then like I used to when I was going through tough times, like when I was in college, I would just like get my notes app on my phone and just write like as much information and feelings and thoughts and everything as I could get out of my brain so that it was just out of my head and down on yeah, I could just like dump all of it. Um if your admins don't like they can't like there's literally no one, you have to go take care of this class. Put on a movie. Like it's okay. Have a movie day, have a video day, have some I know I have tabs on my Google Chrome that say like elementary panic mode or like middle school panic mode, and it's like days where like I do not have the bandwidth, or all of a sudden I got called to like I have to go pick up my kid from daycare, or I have to go do something, or like I am just not feeling it and I need these kids to do other things, and I cannot be like a full on like teacher in front of the classroom lecturing and talking to kids. So I have like YouTube videos and games and different things that I have saved in a folder on my Google Chrome browser to kind of like if I need a minute or I need some time for kids to like be occupied while I take care of something. So consider like if they tell you no and you have to go back to class for whatever reason, maybe it's a really good reason. If it's not a very good reason, then like think about if you want to stay there. But yeah, try as soon as you can, do something nice for yourself, like go get some ice cream, like go take a deep breath, because that's a lot to witness kids in a fight. I think the closest I have come in my 8 years of teaching, the closest I have come to seeing a kid beating up another kid was two kids. They were walking in my room. This was several years ago. They were walking in and they were like tripping each other, just kind of being goofy. And then another kid like took it too far and started to like drag him down, and I think a fight was gonna start to happen, but I walked in and just was like, hey, knock it off. And it ended, and I was very like, oh my gosh, like that was almost a fight. Like these kids were almost getting in a fight, and then I had to like write the report. And but yeah, try to write it down, try to find someone to talk to just to vent about it. Okay, so that is kind of everything I have on my list. Not to end, so I don't really want to end on the thought of having to see your students get in a fight. I feel very fortunate. I am not in a common area of the school. I'm kind of tucked away, so I don't see a lot of the fights happening. I kind of hear about it secondhand and just like what has happened and was, which is still scary no matter what. Like kids getting in a fight is never good. Hopefully you're in the same boat that you don't have to be a part of that very often, if at all. I hope that that's the case for you. I hope your school never has fights. It's just a magical wonderland. Okay, so going on a different topic, I have started something I'm really enjoying with my students is I will do a joke of the week, and it's like a dad joke, and it's a really bad joke. Like this week was, why was there music coming from the printer? Because it kept jamming. um, I really enjoy that. I really enjoy like terrible jokes because they're just dumb and goofy and silly. But the kids really look forward to it every week, and I appreciate that they like look forward to it. And with my younger students, they like try to guess the answer, and so we have a fun couple minutes of class like, "Oh, what is it?" Like, "What do you think?" "Nope, it's not that." Like, "What?" "Oh, no, that's not the answer." And so it kind of gets them thinking, and it's like almost like a riddle because they're all punny and all the stuff. And but my even my high school kids kind of enjoy it and will laugh and giggle, and like they look forward to it. So that's just something like lighthearted and kind of easy that I like Google like music dad jokes or whatever. And I put a new one up every week. I used to do it every day, and that was too much. It was too many jokes to try to find. But yeah, I hope that you're having a great time currently. If you're on spring break, congratulations. If you're not yet, we're super close. We're getting there. I know for a lot of us, it's going to happen next week. For some people, it may be a couple weeks down the road, just depending on your school calendar. But good luck, hang in there. Put on a movie if you have to. It's okay. Every once in a while, it's not a bad thing. If you do it every day, it's a problem. If you do it like a couple times a semester, it's okay. We all need those days. But find us on TikTok, Small Town Music. Instagram is small dot town music. YouTube, Small Town Music 21. Gmail is small town music podcast at gmail.com. Again, we've had one person reach out to us. So thank you for your email. That was a while ago, but if you're listening, rate, review, comment things you liked. Tell us things that we could improve on. Laura and I are working on getting a better podcasting space. This little corner of my child's playroom is super fun, but just it could be better. So we're working on it. But thank you so much for listening, and I hope you have a great week. Bye.